Hi everyone, my name is Paulo and welcome to one more video in this channel called Fluttering. This channel is an international channel where we speak English. Brazilian people speak English in this channel, right? The motivation here is, the purpose here is speak not only for Brazilians but the entire world. This time, again, we'll be talking about Vadens, the framework that the Brazilian community is building from scratch, from zero, a new Darts framework. So in the last video, we talked about the motivation and the core concepts behind Vadens. All right. Today, we'll be talking about the project structure. So let's read a bit about the project structure here. So understanding the default project structure in Vadens is key to maintaining clean and scalable applications. Below is an overview of how a typical Vadens project is organized. So basically, we have a folder here that will create your project, the main folder here with the name of your project. So we have a bin folder here, and inside that folder, typically we have this server.dart. That is the entry point for your server. It's just like the main.dart file in Flutter, right? This is where you start your application. If we go back to getting started here, this is how you start your application. Dart run bin / server.dart. So in case you want to have another entry point, for example, server staging, server underscore production, or server tests, you can create this file here and run a Dart run and point to this file, right? We also have this lib folder here, and inside it we have three main files here. One is config, that is the application configuration files, for example, OpenAPI and settings. And we also have here the SRC folder, that is your actual code controller service, etc. And we also have the application.dart file here. That is a generated file by Vadens class scanner. Down below, we'll be talking about this Vadens application and this Vadens class scanner here, all right? We also have the application.yaml, that is the Vadens configuration. And we have pubspec.yaml, that is your product dependency manager. This pubspec.yaml is where you configure your dependencies like in Flutter, like we do in Flutter, right? Then we have this build.yaml file, that is your building runner configuration. All right, as I told before, we were talking about the bin server.dart file. This is the main entry point of your application. It loads the generated Vadens file, Vadens application.dart, and it starts the HTTP server. Inside here, this Vadens application, we have this function called create application, right? And this is the configuration of your server. We have a main entry point here, they called a function main. We have the create application here, and we also have the server setup here. So this is the configuration of your IP, the host, and is the part of your application, right? And let's see a little about the Vadens application.dart. This file is generated automatically by the Vadens class scanner. So every time you use a controller, your at controller annotation, at service annotation, at bin annotation, the Vadens class scanner scans all classes with annotations and composes the full application instance with routing, dependency injection, and middleware configurations, right? You should not edit this file manually. This file is generated by Vaden class scanner. You should not write your own code inside this file, right? So we have here the libconfig, right? This folder contains configuration files and classes. For example, OpenAPI.dart that declares OpenAPI structure. AppConfig.dart provides beans using at configuration and at bean annotation. Settings.dart loads and represents application settings from YAML. Right. And we also have here a lib/src, right? This one here is lib/src. Let's see what it is about. This is where your actual business logic lives. It's where you define controllers, services, repositories, DTOs, middlewares, all right? And controllers, router handler using add controller. Services, injectable services using add service. Repositories, persistency logic using add repository. DTOs, data structures, and DTOs using add DTO annotation. Middlewares, request interceptors using middleware. Guards, authorization checks using guards. So every code that you write in your business logic lives inside lib/src, inside the folder src. You are free to organize this folder in any way that fits your architecture. This means that it is not steadfast rules. No, you can adapt them to adapt the folder to your context, right? So we also have the application.yaml file, this file here, right? Application.yaml, that is the Vaden configuration. This optional file can be placed at the root of your project, and it is used to configure global settings for Vaden. It works similar to .env files in other frameworks, like in other frameworks, JavaScript frameworks, we have .env files. In Laravel also, we have .env files. In .NET, .env files. I even think that Java also works with .env files. But in this case, in this Vaden case, we have the YAML syntax using the application.yaml, right? Typical usage: declaring the server port and host, defining storage provider, local, S3, Firebase, configuring that database access. All right, so you can configure, for example, we have an example here that we can configure the database, providing open API metadata, right? So we have an example here of the application.yaml file. This is the configuration of the server. The server will start in this port, in this host, localhost, and the port is 8088, all right? Localhost, semicolon 88, we will start the server. We also have the database configuration here. In this case, the database is Postgres, and this is the Postgres configuration. The host of the Postgres is localhost, then the port is 5432. So the database is my app, and the username is user, and the password is pass. This is configuration to connect to a Postgres database in your local host with the port 5432 using this database and using this username in this password, right? We also have the API configuration with the title Open API, with the version 1 and the description auto-generated by Vaden. The values in application.yaml are automatically loaded into application settings. which can be injected using Beam for configuration-based services. All right, so today we learned something about the project structure, a little about the project structure, and thank you for watching. I hope I explained to you how to configure and how the folder structure is made. It's very important that you in the starting your project you have the clear the process of configuring a structure, a folder. So once again, my name is Paulo. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.